Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another enlightening episode of Al-Muminat Podcast. This is a space where we as believers come together to reflect on wisdom of the Quran, share insights, and strengthen our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether you're joining us for the first time or are a regular listener, I pray that this session enriches your heart, mind, and soul. Today we will begin with Surat Al-Baqarah, Ayah 246, and our speaker for this session is Zina. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding and allow us these reflections to guide us towards bettering ourselves and our communities. Let us start with the remembrance of Allah and delve into His words. Jazkallahkheir for joining us, and let's begin.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another enlightening, inshallah, episode of Surat Al-Baqarah, and looking into one of the most amazing surahs in the Quran. Just as a reminder, Surat Al-Baqarah brings so much blessings into your life, so many blessings, and it's just great to always have it around, whether you're listening to it, whether you're reading it, having it in your home, being read on YouTube, and just anyway, like maybe listening to a podcast like this one. Just keep Surah Al-Baqarah in your life, and inshallah, so many blessings will enter it. Inshallah, we're going to start today with Ayah 286. I just want to go back to Ayah 245 for a little bit, just to kind of connect the two. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Ayah 245, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يُقْرِضُ اللَّهَ قَرْضًا حَسَنًا فَيُضَاعِفْهُ لَهُ أَضْعَافًا كَثِيرَةً وَاللَّهُ يَقْبِضُ وَيَبْسُطُ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Who will lend to Allah a good loan, which Allah will multiply many times over? It is Allah alone who decreases and increases wealth, and to Him you will all be returned. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is talking about the loan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it means is it's kind of this is kind of an invitation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as to like who will lend him, like who will give him. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need us to give him anything. However, in this kind of situation, a loan is more of a sadaqah, which is, of course, it has to come from halal wealth, it has to be sincere, it has to not have any harm, or when people remind other people that they gave them something, or boasting. So that's a qard hasan, which means like hasan as in like it comes from a good source, it has good intention, it doesn't leave any bruises on the people that are going to benefit from it. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here, He kind of promises a multiplication of reward. So where charity, because we know that charity is multiplied 700 times or more over. So the multiplication, of course, is not fixed, but it really does depend on intention, sacrifice, timing, and need. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala withholds and grants abundance, and that's also mentioned in this ayah. And so spending in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's way, which is through sadaqah, it does not cause poverty, although it looks like temporary loss, but it is actually a way of protecting your wealth. And they always say whatever you spend in the like for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will have it on the day of judgment. It doesn't go away. Whatever you spend on yourself in this world, like on your clothes, on I don't know, your phone, any amenities, all of this money is technically the wasted money, but the money that you give it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the money that you will have on the day of judgment. So it's just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminding us of that. And so this is kind of like the reason I wanted to mention it before going into ayah 246 is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning to us how important it is for us to be able to respond to His commandments and not question them. Because in what I'm about to mention right now, or the ayah after this, it's where some people acted like they would follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commandments, and then they kind of changed their minds. So in Ayah 246, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى إذ قالوا لنبي له ابعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله قال هل عسيتم إن كتب عليكم القتال ألا تقاتلوا قالوا وما لنا ألا نقاتل في سبيل الله وقد أخرجنا من ديارنا وأبنائنا فلما كتب عليهم القتال تولوا إلا قليلا منهم والله عليم بالظالمين. Have you not seen those chiefs of the children of Israel after Moses? They said to one of their prophets, appoint for us a king, and we will fight in the cause of Allah. He said, are you not going to cower if ordered to fight? They replied, how could we refuse to fight in the cause of Allah while we were driven out of our homes and separated from our children? But when they were ordered to fight, they fled, except for a few of them, and Allah has perfect knowledge of the wrongdoers. So in this ayah, first let's talk about the situation that they're in. This is a historical setting. This happened after the death of Musa alayhi salam. So this is during the time where the people of Musa were humiliated, they were oppressed, their lands were taken, their children were captured or displaced. They had no political unity, there was no leadership. They were really going through it. And they approached a prophet that came after Musa. Some people call him Samuel, and they were asking for a king to unite them. And people often, kind of when things are unbearable and you feel like you're being kind of stripped down of your dignity after having an injustice, after having a loss, like even in our everyday life, we try to look for big promises, and we also look into the Quran. We look into what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised the people who go through very tough times, the people who have injustices kind of inflicted upon them, the people who lose very important things in their life, whether it's humans, like their children, their spouses, their parents, or whether it's like more of a materialistic thing, like their wealth, their opportunities, their jobs. And so we always turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when that happens. That's why they say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests you to have you come back to him. So when something is really bad in your life and something really tough is happening in your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you to hear your voice, to hear you make dua, to hear you ask him for help, to hear you have faith that he's going to be able to turn things around for you. And so this is the kind of the situation that they were in, the like Bani Israel, that's why they went to the prophet. They wanted some sort of king to unite them, someone to help them get through this injustice that they're feeling, and the oppression that they were under. And so they kind of wanted someone who would have structure, authority, someone who's legitimate. They believed that in order for them to be victorious in that time, they would need some sort of external leadership. But I mean, they weren't wrong, but it is revealed that once the system is fixed, then they will obey Allah fully. That's how they like thought about it. They were just like, okay, if this is like actually the way, if this happens the way that we wanted, like if we had better leaders, if our situation improves, if the community changes, then we'll become better with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we'll obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fully. And unfortunately, sometimes we may think that way, or people in general might think this way. We think of in order for us to be obedient of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obedient to him, I mean, there has to be some sort of condition. You know, we think of, okay, if I want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to be a better Muslim, then he should like give me more. Or if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to be a sinner, then maybe he should like give me something else. This is the mindset that they had. Like, you know, if we had better leaders, then we would probably be more committed. If our situation improves, then they'll like become better at practicing deen. And sometimes people think this way, like, you know, you probably thought about it. You're just like, okay, I'll be able to like pray better if my situation improves, or like once my situation improves, then I will become a better Muslim, or I'll do better in my prayer. Because right now I'm kind of upset with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing me with, you know? And that's not, we are not as wise as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and our wisdom, no matter how much we think we know, it's so limited. Our knowledge, our wisdom, everything that we think we know, it's so limited. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to do certain things or puts us in certain situations because he knows it'll lead to the goodness of ourselves in this dunya and in the akhirah. So, for example, you might be in a situation where you actually, since yesterday was Friday, we can talk about Surat Al-Kahf, you know, the person who say Musa meets on his journey, the wise man. He kills a child, and in Musa's eyes, he's like, why would you kill a child? This is a very like this is unkind. However, the reason that that was done is because his parents were good parents, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew that this child was going to grow up and become a bad person. He's going to become someone who's going to make his parents be very wary. Maybe he's going to impact their deen, their faith. And so this is how we're supposed to think about our everyday life situations, or every single test that we go through. You don't know why that child was killed. You don't know why you're going through this. But at the end of that story in Surah Al-Kahf, the wise man, he does tell Musa why he did each and every one of those things. Why he put a hole in that ship, why he killed that child, why he built that wall. So some of the things that we don't understand have wisdom, of course, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose them for us. It's just, you might live your whole life and not know what the wisdom is behind this. The parents of that child that was killed, they probably have no idea why he was killed. You know, only Musa got to know. The people whose ship got a hole got put in it, they don't know why that happened, but we know because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed us to see that wisdom. So sometimes what's happening in your life, or the situations, the bad situations that you're going through, as horrible as they may seem, they have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choosing them for you, which means that there's got to be some wisdom. And you might be going through a tough time, but maybe going through a good time would have taken you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes you might be around people who are great, they're incredible, you love them, they're amazing, but you're far away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strips you from those people. And so you turn to him and you ask him for help, you ask him for strength, you ask him for better people in your life. Regardless of if this situation is about friends or family or spouses or whatever it is, whatever the reason might be that you lost something or you're going through something, the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put you through this is because he wants you to come back to him, and he wants you to make dua, maybe do qiyam, maybe do salawat ala Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, maybe to read more Quran. Whatever the reason is, it's it's important that we listen to these to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending us these messages. It's important for you to see those signs. Don't think of it as, oh my God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is punishing me. I'm going to become an even worse person. Like, no, try to do whatever you can to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messages to you and his signs, and then use them to do better in life. And so moving forward, going back to the people of Musa, the prophet responded to them with kind of an insightful question at that time. He was like, it is not possible that if fighting is prescribed for you, you will not fight. Now you're asking to fight. Now you're asking to lift this oppression. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows you to fight, are you actually going to? And this wasn't a doubt of a prophet. It was kind of experience. He saw that, or he was given the knowledge that previous nations repeatedly promised obedience and then they withdrew. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they would ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, he would give it to them, and then they would become disobedient. And that happens in real life too. Like nowadays, you might ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something and keep asking him for it, and you cry and you make dua, and then once you get it, you forget about being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is that kind of defeats the purpose of going through a test. A test is supposed to make you obedient. It's supposed to give you kind of a structure for a life that allows you to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you withdrew after you went through something and you distanced yourself from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it feels like the test that you went through, all of the work that you put into it, all of the closeness that you reached with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you kind of lost it. So let's try, if we go through a test, to not be like those people. Try as much as we can to actually go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay with him, even if he gives you what you want, even if ease comes into your life, because it's very important that you don't just brush it off and think of it as like, oh, okay, I'm done with that test, I don't have to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then wait for the next test. This is like reading Quran only in Ramadan and then forgetting about it the whole year and then coming back to Ramadan again and then reading it again. Which I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. It's just you're distancing yourself from Allah for a very long period of time. And you're missing out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need you. You're the one who's missing out on it. And so when the Prophet asked them that, they responded with, why should we not fight when we have been expelled from our homes and children? So the motivation for them to fight was kind of the pain that they were feeling, the oppression that they were feeling, but that was mostly emotion. That doesn't make you prepared for actual fighting, for actually being strong enough to do it. And so that's why it's very important for us to be in our life today, to be very disciplined, to be patient. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us some sort of test and then he allows us a way out, the way out might be pretty difficult. Like maybe someone, for example, married to the wrong person. Their only way out is divorce, and divorce is not easy. It is difficult. However, it's gonna discipline you. It's gonna make you patient. It's gonna give you endurance. You're gonna be able to be prepared for life even more. It's gonna give you real kind of connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's like one of the things that you might lose in life, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow you to gain something even better. And so once the fighting was allowed to happen at that time, so there was risk, there was loss, they could die, there was sacrifice. Most of these people who told the Prophet, yeah, of course, we'll fight, most of them turned away, except for a few of them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises this small group of people, you know? And so he talks about them afterwards too, like in the second ayat. However, this is when your true character comes out, when all of the other people disappear, when only the sincere people remain, when you have to hold on to your deen for dear life because you cannot let go of it at all. Like nowadays, being a true Muslim, holding on to your faith, being able to do everything as much as you can to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is not easy. And many people around you are not doing it. This is where you are compared to those few people, you know, the sincere people, the people who are going to remain close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when everybody else is not. You know, it's easier to not have to think about um being completely halal in everything. Like, I don't want to think about how my hijab looks. I don't want to think about what I'm eating. I don't want to think about where my money comes from. I don't want to think about this and that. It's you can do that. That's what many do. However, the few people who are just like, oh no, I have to be very careful in every single aspect of my life that I don't displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that shows sincerity. That shows that you are willing to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even when most people aren't. So that's just one way that we can kind of connect this ayah to today's world, is that be part of the few, because those few are the ones who win on the day of judgment. So it's just important then to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that when we do this to ourselves, when we follow other people who aren't close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are being unjust towards ourselves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need you. He does not benefit from you. None of the things that you do are going to, increase his wealth or decrease his wealth. Like, he's not going to be impacted by this. You're the one who needs him. And so when you follow when you're a follower of people who might lead you astray, you lose a lot. And you lose that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you lose the ability to be a true, sincere Muslim. And so try your best in everyday life to think of this. Be like, okay, if I make this decision, okay, which might be haram, am I following the few or the many? Do I want to be part of the few or the many? Okay, every single day we're going to be making decisions that are maybe one way is haram, one way is halal. And you have to sit with yourself and be like, the haram way, many people are going to take it. I'm not going to be alone in it. It's going to probably be fun. It's going to probably be easy. But do I want to be part of those many on the day of judgment, or do I want to be part of the few? And just, you have to make that decision every single day of your life until, inshallah, we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Okay, I'm going to stop here, inshallah, today. Next time we'll continue with ayah 247.
Thank you so much, Habibti. That was such a beautiful reminder for all of us to sometimes what we love is not good for us. You know that ayah, Shahid? That ayah, yeah, that sometimes what we love and what we want is not good for us.
Yes,
But
100%.
and what's something that is not, and something that is bad for us might be good for us. So Allah knows best. We plan, but Allah's the best of planners. And when we learn how to just accept, be submissive to Allah and grateful and thank Him no matter what, bad or good, Allah will give us light on it, and He'll help us through it, and He will actually take care of all your situations. And I had to learn that also. Um, and I'll give you like a little bit of a, I want to say like a little bit of a advice when you're looking for something to help you through whatever Allah has given you in your journey. The one thing that I think was very helpful to me is calling upon Allah on that you need and what you want. That, for instance, I'll give you an example. Al-Jabbar.
Yes.
If you can elaborate on that meaning for me, because it's such a beautiful meaning, Shahid.
Yes.
That is one thing that got me through something that I couldn't let go. So if
Yes.
you wanna like give the definition of that.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I love what you just said 100%. عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. You might hate something and it's good for you, and you might love something and it's bad for you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows and you do not know. And we always use the first part of this ayah. We always say, you might hate something but it's good for you, and you might love something but it's bad for you. But I think the most important part is وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, and Allah knows and you do not know. You think you know. We are, as human beings, we're very arrogant. We think we know. We're like, oh, this is happening because of this, and I know better, and this is what's good for me, and this is what's bad for. We don't know. We honestly don't know. It might look amazing, and whatever it is that you want might seem incredible, but it might be very bad for you, and that is only um, determined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He's the only one who knows. And that's why ask always Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make the best decision for me in this dunya and in the akhirah. We're allowed to have a good dunya. I don't know why people believe that if you're a Muslim, you have to have the worst life ever because that's the only way you're gonna have the akhirah. No, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for both. If it
Yes.
happens to be
Yes.
that your qadar has some sort of like tests, and you might, you're gonna be tested a lot in this dunya, then that is your qadar. But ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have to be miserable because you are Muslim and you have to be tested constantly. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for strength. You might be tested constantly, but honestly not feel it. I know some people who are so blessed. They are so blessed and they don't know they're blessed. I think that is within itself an ibtila. It's a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are blessed but don't know. And some people, they have it very, very hard, but they don't know. And that is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that they're being tested but they don't even feel it. It's just
SubhanAllah.
like some people, they fast and it's very easy for them, and some people, they fast and it's very difficult for them. We're both being tested. I'm fasting, and for example, um Edith, you're also fasting. I might feel it a lot, Edith might not feel it. We're both being tested by this, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving Edith the strength. You know why? Because she probably asked him for it. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for strength. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for clarity. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make, because we are going to be tested. Ask Him to make this test easy for you, and ask Him that whatever test that you are given does not impact your akhirah. Let it impact your dunya. We're not here for long. But as long as it does not impact your akhirah, as long as it doesn't at some point make you lose your faith, you're fine. You are more than fine. And so I agree with what you said.
And
Ask Allah.
some people, some
Yeah.
human being won't let it go. They're like, no, I need it. I want it. I know, I got to
Yeah.
keep praying for it. It has to stay with me. It has to be with me. I
Yeah.
want it. I know that this is good for me. Like, they're so hard, stubborn human beings that no matter what they're very stubborn on wanting it and knowing that,
Yes.
thinking they know more than Allah, when Allah, He knows more, and then they're devastated when it's gone, or they can't have it, or they're bitter, like you said. And when they know it's Allah is just trying to protect you, help you through it, and make it like be successful in the akhirah. So yeah, you're right. I've always said because people always saying like, if you're Muslim, oh, you got to be tested. But no, Allah said, ask for dunya and akhirah. And yeah, I want dunya and I want akhirah. And who says you can't be happy in this dunya as a Muslim and be happy in the akhirah? You can ask for both. And Allah always says, ask for both. And if you're convicted in your heart that Allah will give it to you, He is what you are to Him. Whatever you think of Him, if He is the giver, the protector, gonna give you everything you want, and you really truly believe it, then He is what you say He is. And that's why I said you have to go back to also like asking in the proper way of dua, the way He asked
The
us to
names of
ask Him,
Allah.
the names of
Yes.
Allah. And when I found out that specific name, I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you,
Jabbar is like
it came in a dream. Let me just tell you.
for real.
And
Wow.
that dream,
SubhanAllah.
that name, when I looked up my dream, that name came up. And that name solved all my issues.
Oh
So
my
it
goodness.
made me feel so much reassured that Allah's there for me,
MashaAllah.
So please explain that.
That is
Jabbar.
amazing. So in Arabi, I'm gonna go back to actually in Arabi when we say jabira, it is kind of like a cast. So when you have something that's broken, like an arm or whatever, we put a jabira on it, a cast on it. And so when we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-Jabbar, He is the person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He heals whatever it is that happened to you. The same way a cast would
Subhanallah.
heal something that happens,
Subhanallah. Yes. When I read it, I was amazed.
I love that name because truly it has so much might too. Jabbar means like mighty, great. But at the same time,
Subhanallah.
if you look back to like the meaning of Jabr, it literally means like to also fix something that's broken. Whether it's your
Subhanallah.
heart, whether it's your marriage, whether it is your
Subhanallah.
child, whatever it is that you feel like is broken in your life, when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala using the name Jabbar, it is
Subhanallah.
like, please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fix this for me. This is broken in my life.
Subhanallah. Shahid, and after I did dua with the name of Allah al-Jabbar,
Yes.
everything, I released everything. Everything was fine. Now it was comfort. It was like, that's it. It was done. Subhanallah. What I was lingering on,
Subhanallah.
and I
It's
couldn't let
amazing.
go, or it's bothering me. It just, khalas, it was done. Subhanallah. That's why I said the names of Allah are so mighty and powerful, and you
Yes.
have to use the exact one that you need for
Exactly.
Him to help us, inshallah.
100%.
I hope that
100%.
helps somebody.
I love that. Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning it. Yeah. I don't know if you ever guys did dua al-istikhara, when you're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whether you should go with it, make a decision or about something, whatever it is, whether it is as big as marriage or as small as buying a shirt. Because the companions of the Prophet used to make istikhara even about buying a piece of clothing. So at the end of dua al-istikhara, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us through His Prophet, we say, قدر لي الخير حيث كان ثم أرضني به. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please decree what's better for me, whatever it may be, and make me content with it. What does that mean? It means that khair and goodness might not look like khair for us. That's why we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us be content with it. So whatever it is that you want in your life, not getting it might not look like khair for you. Like some people think that if they never get married, it is the worst thing on earth. However, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you content with that and like allow you to see the goodness in this decision that He made for you. Or maybe losing your job. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you content with this. Because even the khair that you think is like not that doesn't look like khair on the outside. For example, you might make an istikhara about marrying someone, okay? And then after you make the istikhara, it goes through whatever, blah blah blah, it's great, and then the person turns out to be bad. And you're like, but I made istikhara. But the thing is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees that the good for you is to go through this marriage and leave this marriage. You know, that is His plan for you, and that's how He sees
And
goodness for
maybe
you.
learn something from it.
Exactly. See, exactly. So it's not always black and white. It's not always like, oh, this is in order for it to be good, that means I'm going to marry this person for the rest of my life. No, that's not the case. It might be that it is you marry this person and then you divorce this person and then you learn something from the situation and it gets you back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even stronger than before. However, if we constantly think that we know what khair is for us, there's no way we're going to be able to reach a high level of iman, because we're always going to think that
You know more than
if
Allah.
something were to happen that's not good in your opinion, oh no, like, oh my goodness, this is a disaster, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He didn't want good for me. Like, no, that's not the case. If you make istikhara in your life and always have that as a tradition in everything in your life. I know
Because
people save it for like very big decisions. No, it's like for every decision that you make istikhara in order for you to have rida, in order for you to have contentment. Because if you continue to kind of avoid the need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for contentment, then you're probably never going to be content, because he's the only one who could give it to you. That's
and
the only thing that's hard to attain on our own.
and I also think that like once you surrender to Allah, to whatever His will is on every
Yes.
decision, and you're just content with the decision that Allah makes for you, and you just surrender, because ultimately at the end of the day, we're not in control of our
Yes.
destiny. So if we just surrender and say you do your part, but then you leave the rest to Allah, meaning you're surrendering to Allah whether it's good or bad, because He knows best. I think once you do that, and I know it's hard to explain that part, I think once you do that, I think then you will have your dunya and your akhirah,
100%. Yes. 100%.
and you'll be content.
100%. Yes. Because you'll be pleased in this dunya, and by pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by being pleased, you'll be pleased inshallah in the akhirah.
Inshallah, bibnillah. Ayah, do you have anything to add to this?
This was also beautiful. I'm just soaking it all in and taking it all in. And I've been seeing and learning more about the different names that we should be using when making dua and really specifying in that. And I think the importance of that itself is a major, major takeaway from this one.
Yes, it's beautiful. I feel like it's adab. You know, there's I want to say, how do you say it in English? I know in Arabic it's adab. It's a proper way, a mannered way. There's manners in salah, manners in da'ah, in supplication. There's manners in everything. So I think that is the manners of addressing your Lord, and Allah is the one that tells us that He loves when you call upon Him on what you need from His beautiful attributes. So like a razak, you need from His bounty, His provisions, you would call on a razak. You know, so like al-Jabbar, like in such situations, you know. So everything, like I think you should look into that, because I feel like so powerful. And Allah's teaching us in the Quran. This is why we're doing the segments, because we're getting taught how to even talk to Allah. And it's so beautiful. And I just love it. I just can't say enough. I'm so blessed, and we're all blessed to be Muslimin. Alhamdulillah. The more you say Alhamdulillah, the more Allah gives you, the more you don't be bitter because of things that happen to you, and you say Alhamdulillah, the good and the bad, and you surrender to Allah. You're going to see good come your way always, and you're going to be so content. Like Shahid said, you might be going through a hardship and you don't even know it, because why? Because you are content with whatever Allah gave you, and that's why it makes it easy for you. So Alhamdulillah. So Alhamdulillah for everything. Thank you, Shahid, for that. That was beautiful. And we can't wait to keep hearing from everyone next week. If anybody has any questions, we'll give it a minute. And then after that, we're going to end this week. And Alhamdulillah for everything. So let me see. I don't think we have any questions and comments. So just want to give it a little bit here. Thank you for all the viewers today. We had a real nice high viewing. We appreciate you. If you can just share the live, that would be awesome. Get your sadaqah jariyah. Times is ticking. Time is short. We don't have that much time on earth. If you see all your loved ones going, and it's because of that, Allah showing us that we don't have that much time. So we need to get as much hasanat as we can, as much knowledge that we need to get before we go. And so you sharing this live is your sadaqah jariyah. That person listening to it constantly every week, that is, you're getting your hasanat. Not only they're getting their hasanat, you're getting your hasanat. And so thank you so much for all these live viewers that we have. We appreciate you viewing. And if Allah can help you and content and make comfort in your home with what we're explaining, of the ayahs of Allah, the Quran, the words of Allah, the nur of Allah, everybody needs that in their home, then alhamdulillah, we did what Allah helped us to do and spread Islam. With that, we're going to end, Ayah. I think we're good.
Okay. All right. That wraps up today's episode. We hope you found it beneficial and enjoyed tuning in. Your feedback is always welcome, whether you have questions, comments, or suggestions. Feel free to share live or email us anytime at Al-Muminat Podcast at gmail.com. And don't forget to continue sharing our podcast with others. Our aim is to guide and enlighten our ummah. A special thanks to Dina for hosting today. May Allah reward you. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to having you with us in our next episode. Until then, take care and stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazkallahkheir.